Cool. These kind of are directed to you, these questions at the moment.
That's all right.
So for you, what are the pros and cons of running and promoting nights, and does that impact your mental health?
Yes. Basically, yeah, it's really
Tickets.
stressful. Yeah, it's like, God. What are the pros and cons? Well, like, let's start with the pros, because like they're pretty, like, nice.
Yeah.
So like, it's just a really, really nice feeling, like when you just put something on and people come along and they love it. Like, there's nothing better than having like created something out of nothing, essentially, and you put a lot of work and effort into it, and then you just kind of reap the rewards, and you just see like a dance floor full of people having a good time is like amazing. But yeah, there's so many stressful bits to it, and I mean, like, for instance, like leading up to the night tonight, like, because my work has been really, really busy, because the team I work for are kind of understaffed and stuff, like I've just really had to focus on that. So, I've kind of handed a lot of stuff over to Will, who are on the night with, because I just haven't had the headspace for it. And yeah, I mean, I guess it's another place where like you can easily take on way too much. There's so many elements to it, and there's so much money to it, and again, like comparisons and thinking, oh, we need to be doing this and be bigger and better, and I don't know. Yeah, it's it can easily be just like a runaway train that kind of takes over everything, really.
So I guess there's a lot to be said about having a team of people that are doing it. So when you may be thinking, oh, this week I'm struggling a little bit, Will, can you do this? That's quite an important aspect of running a night.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I guess like kind of building a family around the night as well. Like that's something that was really important for me with Dissonance, because having run nights in Bath is not
It's not thriving.
it's not kind of like the musical creative like city like Bristol is. So it's quite limited with how much you can actually put on and do well with. So I would work really hard to like just get as many people that I knew along. And when I did Dissonance, I was like, no, this is a music thing. I don't care if none of my friends come. I just want to put on this music thing, and if nobody comes, then fine. I've kind of realised that nobody's interested. But if people come along, they're going to be the people that are into this music, and then I want to meet these people and I want to network with them. And then we've just slowly kind of gradually built like a family around the night of like, DJs, like-minded people and stuff. And, they always really support us, and they'll always come along to the nights and, kind of spread the word and stuff. And I think that's really important, because then, I don't know, like even though they're not running the night, it kind of takes a bit of pressure off it, because you kind of know that, say even if a night doesn't go quite to plan, you're still going to have a really good time.
Yeah,
because
with your people.
Yeah, exactly.
So creating that network is again quite essential to finding your people and moving the sound that you want to have, and
Feeling connected as well.
Yeah, well, we need that as humans, don't we, actually? I think it's quite important.
Definitely.
So kind of just round off that, do you have any advice that to people that are wanting to get into promotion, and how to sort of keep themselves mentally balanced? If you've found that equilibrium yet.
I was like, when you were saying that, anybody who wants to get into promotion, I'm like, just don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't really mean
That's
that.
not sound advice.
No, it's not. No, you can definitely do it. I think, with promotion though, like don't do it for money. Like that is rule number one. Like I've seen so many people just do stuff for money and it crashes and burns. Also, don't do stuff outside of like what so don't try and kind of like, I don't know, like include like genres that you're not really into because you think it's like, the hot thing at the minute, like the hype train, or doing it like somewhere, like say when I was doing stuff in Bath and I had my record shop there, like people from out of Bath would come and try and promote in Bath, and it would always just tank, like it just wouldn't do well. So yeah, basically, don't try and do it for money.
I mean,
do
that's
it
a
for
solid
passion,
advice. Yeah.
and then if you do make any money, like more's the better.
Yeah.
But be ready to kind of like put, outlay on the line, and you may or may not kind of break even or make money. You might lose a bit. But if you're doing something that you're really passionate about, then that will kind of shine through.
And then that allows that authenticity that we've been this running theme throughout everything, really. of like, even if you just started off with you and a few mates, creating a night. If you're not getting booked much, create a night, make it small, start off small, have your friends there, start creating that network, and those networks of people that we need in order to grow.
Yeah, definitely start small. I think that's another kind of,
Unless you've got loads of money, loads of connections, loads of people, it's like
yeah.
is
Like,
a
if
good
you've
way.
already got like, something like a big following or like a label, or you're, established, then you can set something up a bit bigger maybe from the start. But yeah, if you're just starting from like, grassroots, like start small, just kind of test the waters really, because, there's going to be loads of things to kind of learn along the way. And it's really stressful. Like I've definitely had nights where I'm like, feel like kind of anxious, like, oh, we're going to get enough in, oh God, I can't afford to lose money. And, I think I've been doing it long enough now, thankfully, where like, anything I plan, like I don't really get too worried about. But like that's only through like pure kind of experience and practice of like I've felt this so many times, like you can't feel anxious about the same thing forever.
And it's like what we were saying of like what can you control and what can't you control. You can't control these external things. You can control, okay, I'm feeling anxious right now, how can I sit with that, how can I move through that myself in order to try and enjoy this experience.
I think it's also like we're saying, accepting the situation, from, like I said before, like promoting events has always been the top of the pile, the most constantly stressful thing that I find, because you aren't in any control about how many people that buy tickets, or that whether it's going to be really cold one day, or that there's going to be a taxi strike, or there's so many factors, or plane delays, or like hotel prices going up, like there's so many moving parts that, but like you were saying, like if you're focusing on the trying to make a good night, trying to like, I'm doing it for this reason, and then with the experience, it's like, hopefully remedies it a bit.
Fingers crossed.
But we were saying before about, practicing acceptance, like whatever situation you're in. I suppose you have to do this where if you wake up a week before the gig and you've sold like 75% of the tickets, you kind of have to accept that in the same way as if you've only sold 1% of the tickets. Like, and that's what I find the most stressful, especially nowadays where everyone leaves stuff so late. You could be like, you need to have most of your work done on like the day or the day before, and that's not anything to do with the promoter. It's just like this is the nature of how it is.
Right,
You've got to be able to roll with the rough and the smooth, basically.
Yeah, big time. And I don't think there's any way around that, to be honest.
But again, going back to that, people can, like you said, don't get involved in things your head isn't in, and stuff like that. People spot that with promoting all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
You see certain nights come up and you're like, why are they booking that artist?
Yeah.
Or it would be a random collation of, technically they're in the same genre, but the styles aren't necessarily fitting.
And then put back to back.
And then,
it's like, that's weird.
And then the locals might be like, or the heads that are like going to, say, nights like yours, or like regular long-standing nights, are like, not sure about that. It's a bit off. And I think it's not just a music thing, or whatever it is. It's a big part of it is definitely promoting as well. You see it a lot in London where you've just got people that just pop up with like 30 grand and they're like, oh, we're going to make a night and make loads of money.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
And then like, like tube strikes and all of this madness happens, and then it's like, oh, they did one night.
But booking a big artist doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be successful either.
No.
It is about like the brand that you've built and the following that you've got around it, and how that kind of fits with what you've done. If I don't know, I've definitely seen like other nights that have kind of booked big artists that you think, oh, that they always kind of pull a crowd, and then it's flopped because I don't know, it's not really been on brand.
The best promoters, I think, as well, are always those ones that have that longevity with running good nights, where there's always a good vibe, good music, and then you could
You can be
book my nan.
experimental.
And people
Is she
sell
good?
out.
As long as she's a good selector.
But that's kind of the promoters, I guess, dream or goal is like where you have that, like you said, you have your regular audience, you have your regular team and crew that not really a team, but they feel like a team because they're regulars that turn up every time. And like Rich Reason's a good example in Manchester, and like Fash in Bristol's been doing it for so long, and you know, like there's a load of promoters that they could just put on a night with where they take big risks, but because they've been doing it for 15 years and they've always built that good atmosphere, and you know.
I think we need to bring light to that, as in if you want to be in this industry, it's going to be a long time that you're going to be in it. You know, it's like things don't just happen overnight. We've all been in it 10, 20 years and still probably feel like sometimes I'm a baby within that. You know, I think it's important to just like, you know, accept that as well.